intention to seek out a planet called Earth. Attack! I can't lose him. He's right on my tail. Hang on, I'm coming. Flight speed for home.
CIC to commanding officer.
Go ahead.
We have a priority 1 alert message from fleet headquarters.
What does it say?
Cylon attack underway.
You're the new breed of Cylon.
There are 12 models. I'm number 6. You were chosen for my mission.
Do you have any idea what they will do to me if they find out?
So I'm only in your head?
No!
Where is the president? Is he alive?
Repeat after me.
I accept the office of the president.
There wasn't anything in my orders about having any heart-to-heart chats with the old man. He should not have been there. He was only doing it for you.
Let's go!
Starbuck. Where'd you get that nickname anyway?
How's the wife?
This isn't a rescue ship. This is a military vessel.
What are you doing?
Giving up my seat. Civilians should take my place.
You're going.
We're in the middle of a war, and you're taking orders from a school teacher?
The world is coming to an end, and all I can think about is that I have cancer.
I'm taking command of fleet.
We have 50,000 people left. The war is over.
It hasn't begun yet.
Once they find you, they'll kill all of you. Stand by for jump.
3, 2, 1.
Jump.
If the Cylons look like us, then any one of us can be a Cylon.
Where did they go? I don't know.
Don't worry. We'll find them. By your command.
Welcome all. Covering everything Battlestar, just the ultimate tribute. For those who didn't want to hear either of the reviews, but just wanted to hear some just validation from all kinds of fans, this is the episode for you. Welcoming back, we got Gil.
Oh.
Josh, Hansen.
Divert power to the main audio.
Yeah, there you go. Navigate. Let's do the Kobayashi Maru on this one. Nick from Keeping Up with Cardassians.
Hey all.
He's just covered the show in Deep Space Nine. He's getting into some other sci-fi power epics. Mark from Visually Stunning Movie Podcast.
Hey.
We've had you on before, and you left an amazing voicemail for the Space Above and Beyond series. The Predator Minute aficionados themselves, as well as from the Gonzo Minute. Cliff and A-aron, welcome.
Howdy. Great to be back.
You so were not in the room. Right?
Indeed. No, we're not. It's not. We didn't know whether to go more Gonzo or Predator Minute.
Yeah,
for this one.
Yeah. For those who don't know, he covers the words.
Got lots of guns.
Hunter S. Thompson and Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas type stuff. So for those who want to just go into just obscure, just oddities that have some cool social commentary, they are the one to listen to. Glad to have Jace back from Twitter, and BB and Jason are here of Spacing Out Network.
Hey. Hi there.
Hello. Thanks for having us.
They have covered everything from Superstore to some other just outrageous stuff. And Paul Derby, the #1 Doctor Who fanatic.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Always. Okay, and Josh Hansen, Comic Book Book Club. First of all, this is lovely having you guys on here. So you can weigh in on how you ranked your discussion of it, as well as just your favorite like moments. And we do these very loosely, just like many roundtables. We've done villain specials before, just to talk as a testament to a good writing on a program or a movie franchise. Often we don't do the villains if there are no notable ones, so it's pretty easy. But yeah, with moments, favorite highlights, and we'll circle around. We'll keep it loose. Nick, long time coming.
Yes.
You've always kind of done just very clever memes and everything, but what do you think just gives you the courage to just like say, I'm ready to dissect this. I love every inch of this, how there's all these war criminals, fearmongers, and other guys all on a ship that's out of control.
One of the things that I love about Battlestar Galactica is how it intertwines politics, political intrigue. It combines religious fanaticism. It just intermingles them so well together, and how they can pervert one another. And I've always loved that. I have a fascination for that. I work in the church, so it's a really fascinating.
You
thing
mentioned
for me
that
to explore
before.
How politics can ruin it. So
that's what gave you an extra edge, because you're leaning in on this.
Yeah,
it's like, right. I would never abuse my privilege of this, but hey, Baltar, he's doing a good job. Converting everybody.
Exactly. So I mean, like, that drew me to the show. Like, I had to watch. It had me hooked right from there. Especially because a lot of science fiction. I don't think a lot of science fiction does a good job portraying religion. It really,
too many producer notes. They'll say, have a science experiment, and now you got to wrap it up with a kung fu fight and Matrix type explosion.
Well, that, but also like the
nothing against the Matrix. That is not a diss, but
there's nothing against
we're talking
it. But
about
the propensity of it to, like,
where they're just throwing in music that doesn't have anything to do with it.
Right. It's just it's. I appreciate it because it looks at religion not as a joke. Like, certainly there are characters in there where they're using it for a purpose, but it explores the greater parts of it. Same thing, and that's the same reason why I love Deep Space Nine as well. It looks at religion.
All
it
the
looks
stuff
at the
that was
religious
invisible
fanatics.
to us. We were just like, that character's odd. I want to follow him. And now that we can binge, we're like, oh, there is an arc by episode 5.
Yeah. So that's what drew me into it. Yeah, for sure.
BB and Jason, you're covering all kinds of shows, and you've gone on record just stating just the various survival techniques, the anxiety, and just claustrophobia of this show. Do you really just kind of feel the fun kind of after effect? There's a segment of this show that's always in your mind. It's like, man, how would I react in that situation? Or, man, that's just perfect TV.
Well, I think part of the show that I like to take around with me is like the strong female lead.
Absolutely. It's good to have a
they
good
really
female
wrote
president.
that in a way that felt genuine to like the way that I think a lot of ladies would have to deal with being stuck in a tin can with a bunch of military dudes.
That's true. And you did a good job talking about the different trivia and how some actors couldn't warm up to that right away. They're like, "Ooh, that's really politically challenging me. I need a moment."
Yeah.
I only have an hour, so I'm not sure I'm going to prepare for this role. And Jason, you've done a documentary, and you can feel free to promote that at the end. But I mean, how do you dig the documentary kind of filming style of this newer show?
I mean, I really like it. It really grounds the show and makes it feel like these are real people in a real situation.
Film, and then they went to digital, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, well, in those first couple seasons, they really like stick to that style, and then when you get more into like the mythological aspects of it in the later seasons, they kind of diverge a little more, and there's some more like surreal filmmaking styles.
Here's how you oversaturate this to show the person's, having this daydream and everything.
Yeah, there's like dream sequences and stuff that come in, and they take their time getting to that.
Yeah, totally. I like how they break that wall of being, like, for example, with Baltar, they really explore this like open, airy past that they've had with his like weird segments with number 6, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then how when she's actually physical at that point and no longer in his head.
He's so real too. Like, I love the way that he acts it out. Like it's the way that he like is so immersed in his love for this, what we learn to be an angelic kind of figure.
Right.
It's very interesting that, like, you know, this guy would be like honking boobs in the middle of a hallway or something,
and no one's stopping him. He's like,
yeah, he's just
having another
he's
daydream.
eccentric.
They get so much comedy out of that because at any moment, like the camera can just cut to a shot that number 6 is not in it, and then Baltar's just there, like choking himself or something. And
yeah, I did wonder what everyone's reaction must have been when he tries to commit suicide and then realizes, nope, that's not going to work. So Gil, you know, you're familiar with both eras of this. It's just interesting how there's even been a comic book crossover where both sagas collide and have to duke it out. Why do you think either version just has a big overall appeal?
Well, I mean, the original version, 79, it came on the air because of Star Wars, basically.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't talk too much about the success of it because, I mean, they totally revamped it the second year it was on.
Yes.
Literally.
So there you go. Spoiler. The best moment of the second season of the original Battlestar is when it ends. They did get to redo it though in the comics, where they said, here's what we would have gone instead of having a dumb space cop show with half the budget.
But yes, they definitely took off very well with the new series that started in the 21st century.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of interesting because they kind of took an analog approach to it, like with their communications on the ship and all that stuff. It was kind of interesting to watch.
It was no longer just people playing around in their backyard. It was like, taking J.C. Penney stuff and putting some extra mold on it.
But yeah,
Mark, how about yourself?
Yeah, I grew up. I watched the original series. I watched the second season of that. And I might be in the minority, but I waited. I couldn't bring myself to watch the new one when they dropped that miniseries. I was like,
no, that's fine.
I couldn't do it. I probably put it off for like 3 years. And then I watched it and I was like, okay, now I have to go back and catch up because now the series is running. Real quick to jump on Nick, he talked about the religious part of it. What's great about the way they handled religion is that religion, season 2 kind of lost a lot of its audience because that's when religion really came to the forefront in a wacky way. Yeah. Religion was there in season 1, but they evolved it in season 2. And part of that, you can chalk up to, well, maybe they wanted to explore those themes a little more. But a part of it is it's a survival situation, and find any society that's in a wartime situation for a prolonged period of time. And the predominant religion is going to start to gain more and more prominence in everything
much
else.
Like DS9 to Nick's point.
And
it is
thankfully they course corrected and kind of brought the show, but the religion was still there, and obviously it plays through to the end. But they kind of got that under control. Season 2, it went way too far, and I think that drove some people away. I think Gil mentioned the analog world we get when this show kicks off. It's like, Battlestar, the Galactica it is analog. I mean, I loved that selling point at the beginning.
Yes,
it's the only it's so old they weren't even going to bother to upgrade it because they were going to decommission it, and then it turns out that your entire civilization is taken out by a cyber attack.
Yeah,
it's just beautiful. I mean, I'm an Air Force vet, so the fact that they had to go back to all the old Vipers that were not network enabled. I'm a fan of the A-10, and they've been trying to get rid of the A-10 for 40 years.
Right.
The B-52 is, I think, pushing 70, and they just can't.
No relation to the Great Band, but
right. Yeah. But I mean, they just can't get rid of these legacy things because they have a function, and that's what I mean. So as a vet, I love that aspect of the show because you get to see all of that military play, and I can relate all of these little things to what I would see every day.
Did it blow your mind when you saw how in the newer one they bring the older Cylons into those other Cylons to show them all apart?
That opening bit of the diplomatic meet where they kept evolving the Cylons, and then
but even by season 4,
you would see, and in season 4 they would bring them back. They brought a couple of them back. Yeah, I thought that was neat. It's a nice, they knew their audience. You mentioned the Firefly ships coming in. You can't see it. It's on this shelf right here. Here's some of my Firefly stuff.
Is it there with the Rocinante from The Expanse?
Yeah.
We're geeking out here, guys. Sorry.
I know, but no, and the first 2 seasons of the show were so great. The look of them, obviously came from Lonnie Perister. From the work he did on Firefly, that documentary late shot shaky cam for the exteriors, just the general look of the show,
and it was controlled as opposed to sloppy.
Yeah, it's controlled.
You look at indie
almost
films
random,
and you can't see what's going on, and it's like
right. And
these guys
said that was kind of the point. It was to make you an observer,
right?
Because you'll see that something happened, but by the time you turn, you've missed it, and you're seeing the aftermath.
We noticed
that makes you not an observer. It does make you a participant.
Yeah,
puts you in the middle, and I think that was part of the early visual appeal.
You're the voyeur, so you're technically interacting. But yeah, we noticed on both shows how they don't really show close-ups of the machine guns, whether it's the prop guns on the original or on the new one with machine guns. They just didn't want to date it. They didn't want you to focus in on it. They're just like, hey,
because it's not important,
right?
It's not important.
It's some kind of Uzi that they're using in the future. Just and go.
Well, and you mentioned the filming style, and it's interesting because the plan is a deeply hated part of BSG, right? And
really,
that's one of the
I know by you, but
the story. Well, it typically is not loved by the BSG community. Really, it doesn't really add much, if you will. But I think one of the reasons is it abandons that filming style. It goes to a more traditional cinematic film style, in that because Olmos is directing it, and he just went a different style. And I think that plays into it.
It was the first episode I started off on this rewatch.
Oh, the plan was?
It makes better sense that way if you do it in that.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to remember. The plan was it was one where they were
Dean Stockwell's mad scientist guy
in the other parts of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was just Cavill behind scenes,
more of
basically
Simon
moving all the chess pieces.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think Cavill's like a very unliked character in general, though.
Right, and you talked about his creepiness and everything. No,
yeah, I really he didn't sit well with me.
No, it's all good. I kind of just love hating him, so I just
yeah. I mean, but I love to hate other characters more. Like Laura Roslin, she's an intellectual.
True.
Like I can respect her.
She was the Secretary of Education.
Yeah,
she's an intellectual.
She's a school teacher.
Well, yeah, I mean,
actually, I believe they just called her that a lot.
Teacher turned president. Gotta love it. So Josh, how did you get?
Can you hear me now? Are we good?
Yes.
Can we hear?
Oh yes.
Welcome to the club. Hacked into the interface. Yes.
Yeah, it took some tech support, but I got it. So I never saw the original, and I was kind of late to the party on this too. I think the pilot or the first miniseries or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
I think that is some of the best television like ever. The way that they set up this entire world, and you understand everything, and it's high stakes and it's well done, and I just think it's fantastic.
It's called smart.
The first couple seasons, yeah, it really. I mean, the first few seasons, just like some of the things they wrestle with, like the one where they have to destroy the Olympic or whatever it is.
Yeah,
Olympic
like, you don't really know. Like, there's
these are the heroes.
Yes, it's this weird gray area they're operating in, and like even when they're on the new planet, they're like suicide bombing people. Like
and
that's
you're still having to.
That's interesting, especially considering what was going on like during in the real world at that time. Like that was kind of a ballsy play. It
is ballsy. Any other show, and already you have Zarek. I mean,
that's what sci-fi is supposed to do. Like, it's supposed to
good
do
sci-fi.
Yeah,
yes.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Zarek. You got everyone's hit on it before. It was kind of another love letter. It's like, hey, we're bringing the guy who's the original.
And you were talking about shared universes. Is Parks and Rec a shared universe because they took the scene from the end of season 2 and used it in like the end of season 6? Anyone aware of that?
Oh, from Battlestar?
No.
Yeah. The one where, guys like puts his head down and he lifts it up and it's like 1 year later.
Oh my God.
They did that in Parks and Rec at the end of like the 6th season.
Forward.
Oh my word.
Yeah. And they like the people who made it said that's what they took it from. Yeah. They said that's what they did. I remember watching it. I'm like, whoa, I know this. Why do I know this?
What are they referencing? But to have, again, the hero of the original Battlestar, and here he is playing the deceptive vice
Isn't he
president.
Apollo?
Yeah, he's the original Apollo,
right?
and
I didn't watch the original.
No,
but
no,
I
it's
think
fine.
Eric
But
was a relic from the past.
if you can find any clips of the fan film he made of the original, you'll see he kind of had a filmmaking knack. But I think he even authored one of the newer comic books, believe it or not. But yeah, I mean the minute you have James Remar as your assistant, you knew you're bad. But it was interesting to me how he is once you think he's going to abandon that, and then he comes back to it a few seasons from now. It's like, of course. And here we are in mutiny time, and he has no shame. He's gonna, and when he just starts shooting a bunch of his aides, it's like, good grief.
Yeah,
you have not thought this out, have you?
I mean, what are you gonna do? You know, I don't
disagreement. Man.
Some of my favorite moments in the show were during the coup d'etat when Adama and Colonel Ty band together and they have their guns out and they're like knocking out guys. And,
oh man, it's like, a Die Hard moment.
Through their ship and taking it back. It was so good. That was one of my
ho
favorite.
Ho ho! Now Adama has a gun.
He and Ty has too.
Yes, Ty has too. Well, so does Starbuck and Leodama. So Aaron, how do you approach the show? We know you're a big fan. You like all the cyberpunk and future adventures and apocalyptic stuff, but where does this resonate with you in terms of all the different franchises that?
Oh man, well, I guess you can sum it up with how I saw the show or first saw it. Like I walked in on it at a friend's house, and it was just the end. And I walk in on the scene where they're talking to Leoben in the the pilot. And
so is this the original?
This is a new one. I watched the original, and it was a fun little space opera. I was a kid, but when I saw this, I wasn't expecting much. But then I watched the scene where they actually leave that space station and they come out of the nebula or whatever, and they have their defensive system. It's all like analog, just a bunch of explosives and stuff that they're setting. They have all their munitions. It's like it's conventional warfare, and they're just setting up a screen of matter, fragments, just to like block any missiles coming in or whatever. They engage their first space battle, and then they get away. And it was so gritty and real. And then I watched immediately after that. I watched the first episode after the pilot, which was 33. Yeah. And that was, I think that's hands down, that's a standalone.
That's how you begin a season, man.
Fucking incredible.
Yeah. That was a great episode.
And it's like, okay, this set the pace for the show for me. It's just this realistic, gritty thing. It's all of the world's problems distilled down to 50,000 people.
You're able to swallow it instead of feeling like too much exposition.
And Ryan Johnson stole it for The Last Jedi.
I don't think I watched the pilot.
I totally believe
after the first season.
I just realized that, by the way.
I don't know why I never connected those dots.
Me either.
That hurts my soul.
Right.
That hurts my soul.
You're completely right. Holy shit.
This is a bit of nerd cred for Aaron here. You had your wedding cake topper, the bride and groom.
Yeah. was Gaius Baltar and Caprica 6. And then for the groom's cake, it was a Cylon. It was funny because the person making the cake wanted like written consent from the studio that they had permission to do this. So we forged a letter and like, there you go. Okay, we'll make the cake.
Oh, wow.
It was pretty awesome. Yeah, it was a nice Cylon.
Moments ago, this ship received word. A Cylon attack against our whole world is underway.
Humanity's children are returning home.
Sagittarian, how many have you got?
5,251 survivors from Sagittarian last count.
It had been years since anyone had heard from the Cylons. And in an instant, everything we knew was gone.
There are less than 50,000 of us left.
This war is over. We lost.
Now we're on the run.
Yes, we're tired. Yes, the Cylons keep coming after us time after time. And yes, we are still expected to do our jobs.
There's at least one Cylon aboard the Galactica.
No mistakes, and be careful out there.
People are getting crazy. Clear your heads.
You said you had a way of detecting humans from Cylon. Do you or don't you?
Humanity's very survival risk in your hands.
You're still acting like you're everyone's best friend. Be careful out there. Good hunting is what you say.
Did you wake up somewhere you don't know? How you got there or anything? You're drugged.
You heard the rumors. Silence who look like humans, sleeper agents hiding in the fleet.
I'm getting a bad feeling about where this is headed.
Let Galactica know we have a problem out here.
They've been tracking the ship all along.
The whole ship knows about you and the chief.
Put a stop to it.
Man takes responsibility for his actions. He accepts the consequences and lives with them every day.
I'm going to Galactica. I'm the best shot in or out of the cockpit.
You are right on the edge, Thrace. Careful you don't fall off.
Veer away, starboard!
There's no choice. It's either them or us.
Without a little risk, life would be so dull.
We're gonna find our missing pilot, and we're gonna bring her home.
We leave no one behind.
Do it.
So you're off the bat and running, and it is interesting how this has survived. And to your earlier point, we weren't expecting anything. Why has Universal not wanted to milk this to death? It's like they didn't think it was going to be much. It was just going to be a temporary summer show, and then they start getting all these Emmys and everything. They keep taking it off streaming.
You like can't find it
They're
anymore
about to reboot it, I think, aren't they?
They
keep talking about it, which means
it's another dead idea. I think
they've been talking about that for like 10 years, though.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's them not wanting to commit money, I guess.
It's supposed to be like a Peacock exclusive, but they just aren't doing it.
I do recommend Blood and Chrome. I know that one gets some flack, but I just dug how the actor who was playing young Adama in that, and how it was just kind of just more ship to ship kind of stealth. It had the navigation angle that the newer show was doing. But
I thought it was a fun watch.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And plus, you gotta love it when your main character calls someone a cocksucker.
I do love
Extended
their
version only.
in-universe swearing. I like how they get around cursing and they just have their in-universe.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
It worked. It could be like that's a tough sell because that could be so corny.
And they delivered it
but
perfectly.
it works. I think it really
they
works.
The original.
And
if you watch the original, sorry. I was just saying, if you watch the original, they have fracking. They use the word fracking in the original too, but they also use a really stupid one called feldecarb.
Oh, that's too much. That's too many syllables.
You can't go full feldecarb.
Please, this is a children's show, Gil.
And for a children's show,
that was a hard R on that film.
Well, I was watching the pilot for the original series, or it was actually a movie.
Yeah, the movie version.
And like, there's a character. I'm not sure who it is. I think it's Cassiopeia, maybe, or I might be getting it wrong. But she's a prostitute in the movie.
Yes, you can.
But then later in the series,
but you can tell.
Well, they call her something else, but you can tell she's a prostitute. But then, like later in the sex worker or something. But
something like
later on in the series, like a few episodes later, she's as a nurse for the doctor or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's Cassiopeia.
Jason and BB, you guys have joked all about the other social topics in this. But when you look at the original show, you're like, man, this is an even kookier society.
I've seen the original.
I can't remember if the Battlestar Galactica movie was released in theaters or if I'm thinking
no, you're right. Much like Buck Rogers, it was syndicated as like a 2 3-part movie, but to get some extra viewers, they put the movie in theaters. Personally, I think the Buck Rogers one is way more engaging, but to credit, I gotta say, if we want to go with the best moment of the original show, there's a great fort saboteur by both Apollo and the male Starbuck on that show. That's when you're like, man, that is Star Wars on steroids right there. They are knocking people out. They are having to do some MacGyver type hacking into computer stuff. Yeah, it's.
They were dealing with more aliens in that movie too than I think they did throughout the series.
They could have opened up a black hole and it would have made sense.
Yeah. Well, remember in the original series, in the new series, the Cylons were our creation, and in the original, they were the Centurions were just there were only a handful of actual Cylons left.
Yeah,
lizard people in the chair.
Aliens,
yeah. So they did switch it up a little bit, but so of course the first one it had established the idea of aliens. So of course they could encounter them as they went. But yeah, the new series really it was about people running from their creation.
Yeah.
Well, Edward James almost refused to do it if there was aliens. He wouldn't do it.
That is a good point. And kudos
that was
to
a
him
big thing for him. He
And
said,
if Eddie
you bring an
says
alien in it,
no,
I quit. Yep.
If Eddie says no, then it's
we
no.
lose our big star. It's not good.
Yeah, you're not going to make La Bamba angry. Well, I wouldn't.
He was like, no one can look weirder than me.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, is that Lou Diamond?
Yeah.
Lou
Oh my gosh.
But he was in Stand and Deliver, see? So don't.
Yeah, okay, so there you go.
He was
it's the same
Selena's
universe.
dad. He
With
was
Christ.
Selena's dad so that's
that's
the
what it
Latin
was.
finger that
Isai
you're-
Morales is also his dad in
Yes.
Caprica, so there you go.
He
It's
was
all
the
good.
goalie for
My
the dark team.
gosh. My
The
gosh.
Latino sci-fi verse. There you go.
How does anybody
on
feel
me.
about Caprica?
No comment.
It Actually, had cool uh, bits. I think it was forced.
I think I think they really lost their way with what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
Let Poco. Sorry.
Oh, yeah,
but
I started out not really liking it that much, but then I was really starting to dig it about the time they canned it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So say we all.
Well, didn't they at the end of it? Didn't they release like a "this is what is going to happen" like a 5-minute clip of everything that was to come or something like that?
I don't know.
I recall something like that.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'll
there
have to
was
pull it
something
off
like
my
that
shelf.
at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, and I saw
It
that,
is.
and I'm like, shoot, I'll watch that show. Like that one looked really interesting.
I think they were too focused on trying to have unrated cuts and TV cuts, and they should have just gone straight into the meat and bones of it. But Jace, what brings you to the cyberpunk table?
So I'm not quite old enough to have seen the original when it was new, but I did grow up on the reruns.
Bloody hell!
And the thing that really, like the thing that got me hooked on Battlestar Galactica is the fact that Deep Space Nine had finished, and I had a hole in my heart for like a good ensemble show, and the ensemble on Battlestar is
family fun.
like off the charts.
Yep.
Like the fact that you've got a character like Colonel Ty, who obviously was in the original, but sort of they introduce him as just one of the supporting cast, and he goes on to become one of like the most engaging characters
Remaining
in the whole
5
thing.
Cylons.
Yeah, exactly. And some of the best performances come out of like the
The
supporting
minute he
cast characters.
finds out he's one of them, he's like,
Yeah, that is one of my
"Don't tell
favorites.
anyone.
Yeah.
I've been
Yeah.
killing everyone who is one of me."
And the like Hilo as well, like was only supposed to be in the initial film, but everyone liked him so much.
We
that
talked
they brought
about
him
how
back
we
in.
recognize him in anything. The Taken Show, Man
yeah.
of Steel. The minute we see him and the
Yeah.
Sam actor, Michael Trugo, we were always like, that dude from
Well,
Battlestar.
I have a soft spot for him because he's in Stargate as well. So, as is Boomer,
That's
but
right. He was in there.
He was one of the human form replicators as well. So he was a kind of a Cylon in Stargate, but not in.
There you go. Now we gotta get the Stargate and Battlestar Stargate
And
connected.
Jason, I love how you bring. I love how you bring up Colonel Ty because he's the guy where
You guys
when you
love
first start watching
talking
the
on him.
show, you kind of hate him, right? And then as the show goes on, you're like, I get this man, and then all of a sudden he's like your favorite character. All of a sudden,
Right, yeah,
it blows my mind. He's an incredible character.
I would
we
still
kind of
trip him
touched
though.
on. Like we kind of touched on the
No,
we touched on kind of like the religious thing, and like obviously they've got like the kind of the Greek theme with the
it's very Shakespearean, kind of, yeah.
But what I really like with Colonel Ty is that when he's on New Caprica, he almost has like an Odin thing going on. Because like he loses the eye, he gains wisdom, he's got the beard.
Get out
Like,
that hammer.
I love the whole like evolution
never
of his
connected
character and
that.
stuff.
That's awesome.
Yes. There's some crazy connections they've done. And I think, I'm sure if you asked just your random college professor, probably some of them have seen it and been like, oh yeah, classic TV.
Yeah.
Soul food.
Yeah, Ty's great. And Ty has to be unlikable at the beginning because he has to counterbalance Adama.
Exactly.
Because Adama is as a military guy, Adama's the commander you want, and Ty is the guy you don't want to have to see first.
And
But the confidence in the show, like writers, to give him that arc and to take their time with it.
Bingo.
Like that
And
doesn't
riddle
happen
me
very
this.
often.
Oh,
But they
that's
do
not
that with
planned.
so many characters, though.
Riddle me
Again,
this.
slow burn, but in the
Good
best way.
writing / smart writing
Yes.
adapts, and that
Yeah.
I think is what they did
Yeah,
because you see,
whether they knew it
just,
to begin with, it feels like they had it planned out.
right, and that's just not. I mean,
season 2 Blu-ray, right? They said they did.
Tangent off. I mean, how many adaptations did Marvel make across their first 20 movies to get to the end game that we all love?
Yes.
But that was not a plan. Kevin Feige is lying. They had an idea.
Yeah.
They had an idea. And then they
Tesseract was a cosmic
we had
cube.
a
It wasn't one of the Infinity Stones.
The plan was to throw stuff at the wall.
Right. Throw it until it sticks. Now,
but it's good writing. It is good writing. And
didn't they make an allusion to good cop, bad cop in one of the many interrogation scenes? But they said something different. Like Adama's like, you follow my lead, but don't be like me, or something like that.
It was probably the airlock scene.
It was a little before that. I think there was one other one where they're trying to interrogate Baltar one more time, and then there was just like a few other ones. But yes, the airlock scene is very impactful. That's when the show goes full blown 9/11. That's when they're like, man, no one is comfortable in their own skin, unintended. It's like,
well, again, you debate the morality in survival situations.
Yeah,
I don't know how literally it is survival. Everything at that point is survival. Which one of my favorite parts? We're talking about favorite parts of the show. One of my favorite parts is when Chief gets sent over to the agricultural ship or the mining ship or
the mining ship?
The work strike.
And he sees how jacked up everything is, pardon the pun.
Yes.
And he sides with the workers.
And he sides with, and he goes, nope, Adama sent me here to get this right. This is what we have to do.
If you have the Blu-ray,
he basically goes like this to Adama. He goes, no, we're shut down.
Yeah.
And then what does Adama do? He holds a gun to Kelly's head.
Yeah, because Adama's doing what he thinks he needs to do.
Exactly.
That's what's so wild too. Adama, you can't figure out his politics and agenda and everything because, I mean, he holds a gun to, again, Athena's head.
Well, everyone here is not the best of the best. They're kind of the worst. It's, I mean, the president is the secretary
this whole situation
of
has brought out all those
Galactica
things,
is supposed to be decommissioned. These are all relics. They're not supposed to be.
This ship should not be working.
So it's like the everyman that just becomes the only hope for.
Don't you love how the doctor is taking a smoke every other?
Yeah, Doc Cottle is the greatest character of all time.
He's so good.
He's so good. Rest in peace. But I just dug it. He's just like, I'm not letting.
They just all felt real, even though it's in this crazy scenario. They just felt like real people.
Totally. Everyone else is like fretting to be thrown in a brig. The doctor's like the only one who everyone just doesn't even question. You're like,
yeah, it's because he's like the only doctor, so they don't have a choice.
And I'm the only one you got.
He's truly the voice of reason on that ship too. I mean,
he really
from the
is.
time where they want to hide the baby at one point, and he was constantly the voice of reason. I mean, he's actually one of my favorite. I have two favorite moments. One of them was Doc Cottle at the end of the series, where Rosalind's saying her goodbyes to him and she breaks down crying and she says, don't say anything, just gruff and walk away. Like, I love that interaction between the two and that sums up Cottle, right? He's like he's the moral center of that show, really.
That's a good point.
He doesn't
do
anything wrong.
Medicine in the future, they do it in a way where it doesn't feel preachy. If you did it now people would just feel like you're hammering them to death with some social commentary that's not balanced. And this one is able, it's in the future. So it's like, we don't got much medicine of anything left. So,
but he was tough and he didn't pull punches either. Usually, whenever he was talking to anyone,
he said, "All military will be excused. We are operating. We're trying to keep your president and your captain up and running. So get the fuck
just
out."
Punching darts the entire time.
He was. Yeah. He would win the Nerf gun match if he helped one.
Well, he was the guy who never hesitated to help out a Cylon, even if they were injured, right? He'd rush in there to help them. Everyone's saying, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "This is what I do,"
Yeah.
Where everyone else is constantly saying, "Whose side are you on?" Before I determine if I'm going to help you, whose side are you on?
He does that to him a few times.
Does that.
And then I love how he revisits him when he realizes Cylon's going to have kids. He's like, "You're back. Now you need me." Paul, I'm sorry, we've been talking back and forth. What brought you to this space opera madness? I know you're a sci-fi holic. You love all the horror anthologies.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely part of it. I did watch the original in reruns. I actually, for a long number of years, I actually thought the original was a Star Wars series.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I was a
It's a
stupid little kid
spin-off.
too, so.
all
But
good.
I really did think that was a Star Wars series for a number of years.
Before there was one.
And but anyway, but yeah, all the other sci-fi I watched throughout the years, and then when I caught wind that they're doing this one, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna watch that. And I definitely enjoyed it. It started off super strong, kind of went down, then a little back up, and then kind of ended weak, but not super weak. I've
I
definitely
just
seen
don't get
lots
why
of.
George R.R. Martin hates it. When
Ah,
he can't do anything
because
better.
they actually finished.
Yeah, because they ended it.
Bastards.
I mean, I've seen lots of other sci-fi end extremely poorly. Like one of my favorites, I love the original V miniseries. I can't
Oh,
stand the
that's
ending
good.
to
Yeah.
that. I hate the ending. I hate that magic hybrid baby in that.
That was the second one. There was 2 miniseries, I think.
They did another. They did a newer one.
Oh
but
yeah, that was the final battle with the
and that was your final time watching it. You're like,
yeah,
I'm
well,
done.
with the original, but
I'm
I
done.
did also like the new version of that one though. It kind of reversed some things, and but anyway, that's not what this discussion's about.
Well, no, but to be fair, also, it's hard to play a robot or a cyborg on TV, and we're able to take any of these actors serious without just being like, oh, you're doing a crappy Terminator or Data on Star Trek impression. Why do you think these guys got it? You know, I get that it was a friendly atmosphere and it was a good, fast film shoot, but it just seems to be, it seems like we're back to square one, where people are liking stuff, but they don't know why it works. It's like, let's examine this. Why does it work for the most part?
Yeah, the way they had everything set up there, I liked how
I don't question
interactions
it,
between
even when there's a puddle.
between the officer side with the civilians, the infighting. It brought a lot of different story possibilities.
It brings out our insecurities, kind of. Yeah.
They had there were certainly some loose ends that they didn't quite wrap up very well, but you see that in a lot of things. They throw a lot of stuff out there and they never get back
That's what
to
you
it.
get when
they
you
had a
have
lot of
too many
plates
people.
spinning.
Yeah.
There is a cool comic book you might like that describes the final five. Anyway, sorry, you were going to say, BB.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was thinking like the reason that it works in terms of the character building is because they're all playing human at the beginning.
True.
We don't know that nobody.
They're all
exists.
relatable.
Yeah.
We're all like.
It's just in a
It's a
fantastical
mystery.
environment.
Who's the Cylon? It's like who done it?
True.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, that was kind of a fun
So-
part of that show too.
100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think that's why it worked so well, because you were watching to see what's gonna happen next.
I
and
know the
who is it.
directors, you know, Menken and everybody, they worked in just about every genre. Crime, action, sci-fi, horror. So that might be also to their credit. They can do all kinds of factors.
Mhm.
As opposed to just one and done. I can only do this
A lot
kind
of arrows in their quiver.
Yes. Lots of gold in their mansion.
Well, and I think why too it could be such a big hit. Like I think back to, you know, this was 2004, I think, when this was first came out. So 3 years after September 11th. But I think one of the biggest moments is in the pilot, well, in the movie, where Rosalind basically says to him, "We've already lost this war. You know, we need to start making babies," kind of a thing. But that comment, "We've lost this
You're like,
war," I think back to but I think back to the American
start off like
psyche
that?
after September 11th, and I think about how, like, you know, America went from feeling invincible to all of a sudden, oh goodness,
We just got our
And
asses handed to us, and we don't know
this
why.
is a show that speaks to it in a really real way without hammering us over the head about it. You know,
True.
it was so it's like, oh, here's something that's speaking to the way we're feeling, and maybe we didn't even realize we were feeling that. And that's a gift of Ronald D. Moore, obviously.
The extended scenes on the Blu-rays, and I think there's one on the worker strike episode. Those are just good because, like, they give you a little extra time for everyone in their rooms. It doesn't. None of them feel like extra deleted scenes that, you know, Ridley Scott, you know, enhanced and put back in. You know, it's not that kind of thing. Like they legit are there for you. They just were.
Yeah.
You were denied
and
it
these
the
were
first time.
these were full seasons, right? They were all like 22, 3, 4 episodes.
Yeah.
It's not like
So-
now where they'll put out a 12.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's like
how many
8, 6.
how many shows feel incomplete? because
the first one was
short.
13.
The
first season was 13, then 22.
It's not
then
Gun's
10.
it was a pickup. Yeah, I mean, the 13 was a pickup, but I mean, they had. We're talking about all these character development. They had room. They had room. They had time. They had the space to explore and let the actors explore.
Right.
And do that. And that, that's an
You look at the table
underappreciated-
reads and the special features, they are loving getting into character and teasing each other.
Right. And I think you can really see where the actors really connect with the character and the story when Edward James Olmos directs.
Always. Yes.
Anything.
Yeah, like
an
every
actor,
episode that he
director.
did, you could tell like he was in that world.
Seemed like everyone knew the assignment.
Yeah,
They were
absolutely
it was completely clear, and they had everything they needed to know.
In Edward's episodes, of course, the mission was just don't piss off Ed.
Yeah.
Right.
Do it right.
That is true. Yeah.
We got to raise our game. Why? Look who's behind the camera.
Oh man, those featurettes are great. I also, if anyone's seen any of his other works that he's done, American Me and Walkout, he just does protests in his movies just so well, and you get a bit of that here, where it's like, where am I in the scene? How am I staged? And go, show me the fear and anxiety that you're feeling.
Jason and I were talking about the scene where he's painting the
so beautiful.
That scene with him just like being so like full of movement and rage and just desperation.
Yes.
And he's expressing it with a paintbrush. And I'm like, this is so artistic.
He really loves he really loves getting messy. Like anytime he gets to be like real sloppy drunk, like crawling on the floor. Like there's a scene where I think it's in the finale. It's like a flashback and he's like vomiting and like laying in it. Like
right.
He loves that stuff, and it's
and
gross.
he actually got drunk. Method acting.
Man,
that's
that
the
scene
right
where he gets
kind of
drunk and
method
Lee comes in
acting.
and hugs him. Oh,
Yeah.
Lee's taking care of his dad.
But
I
at
think that
least-
was after Dee died, right? It might have been.
Right. Yeah. And how about when he thinks Starbucks dead? She's not, but he does. And he's been putting this boat in a bottle together, and then he just
Trashes
wipes it all off the table, and he's just crying like a son of a bitch. He's like,
Yeah,
and so was the production crew because he trashed a real boat.
Yep.
No. Yeah.
For real. Like they got that at an auction or something. That was like expensive.
It was on loan. Yeah.
I wonder if the director of that was like Jonathan Frakes, where he's like, we're doing 2 takes.
Some poor PA was just
Yeah, Jonathan Frakes' middle name is 2 Tank Frakes.
We can salvage it.
Yeah.
We can rebuild it, gentlemen.
We can do it from behind, I think. Kind of.
Well, you won't notice.
You might notice.
the original Battlestar Galactica, the characters were there to serve the story, whereas where in the newer one, the story served the characters.
That's a good contrast, because you do look at Adama, the Lorne Green version on the original. They love
there wasn't much depth to him.
There wasn't depth to him, but so they would kind of do a soap opera kind of camera angle where it's like, and now you're close up.
He had a grandkid.
Oh, it was 1979.
I know.
Yeah, that's
I know.
not
But
how
it's just
TV
interesting.
storytelling on TV was done then. Yeah,
Meanwhile,
it
there's
just wasn't
close-ups
a
in
thing.
every other version of this newer one. It's an interesting contrast. Like only the captain gets his close-up. Now this one, depending on the mood, you're getting your close-up.
That's kind of an interesting contrast about Adama in general, though. In the reboot, because in the original,
kind of a Santa Claus.
he was
kinda
like
guy.
a politician as well. Like he was like Caprica's representative on the
Mhm.
council and everything. He was like the perfect everything. And then when they brought in the Pegasus, it was Commander Kane. Whereas when they did that on the reboot series, he was very much just a commander and kind of like not that great of one reputation wise. And then they bring in Admiral Kane, which
Oh yeah,
it's fantastic. I mean,
permission to
Michelle
kill the
Forbes in that
admiral
as well. Yeah, and all of that stuff. Like they very much like squashed him down into like a much more like imperfect person.
Yeah.
And,
We
like,
get
all
Michelle
of the
Forbes on
characters-
Just
here.
so much
Let
more
me know-
interesting.
Let me know if you guys want me to ask Michelle Forbes any question if I get her on here.
And this goes back to why I think this is such a relatable show for people. There's no perfect character on there.
No.
You could look at every single character and be like, I know someone like that. You know, everyone, you know, we know people like a Starbuck
I
who's
know people like
self-destructive,
this.
is
They're
really
not as
talented, but
bad.
is self-destructive.
I
We know drunks like Colonel Ty, right? You know, we know these people, whereas most science fiction shows, you had the perfect characters and the bad guys,
I
right?
know
And the
people
perfect
like
characters.
this at my different security jobs.
Yeah.
Where they're rowdy one day and another day is like, you know, don't
Yeah.
engage with this person. Just tell them to leave.
But Adama is such a great
Space The
example because
Wire.
again, he's not.
It is like the
Adama.
Wire. Yes.
Yeah, but Adama is not a perfect commander, right? He's a very flawed man. I mean, there's a reason he got relegated to the Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, I will disagree. I will. No, Adama is the perfect.
Here we go.
But Adama is the perfect. Adama
that
is the perfect
situation,
commander.
he is.
The perfect commander for 20 years ago when the war was going on.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why
when the Galactica was the belle of the fleet.
Yeah, he's a wartime president.
He
sort of.
is, and you know, we talk about, you know, we see all these characters.
I would
how
vote
many
Adama
how many
for president,
generals? How many generals after
not Tig.
wartime are relegated and pushed? They're forgotten. I mean, General Schwarzkopf, lauded, went away.
You see how well Adama is equipped to run this ship at this time when Ty takes over? The ship runs amok.
Yeah. Starts killing people.
Like the one day he has to like run the ship and do it his way, he messes it all up.
Yeah.
Like Fubar.
There's military precedent for that. That's called a commander coming in and changing things to change things. Not changing things that are wrong. It's changing things.
Put your stamp on it.
Put your stamp on it. That is the
typical
absolute
vice.
worst thing any
We see
commander
this
can
with
do.
all these vice presidents coming in and ruining all these movie companies.
in studios.
It's
That
called the
happens all the
Jellicoe
time.
effect, I think.
Yep, the Jellicoe effect from Star Trek. Yep.
It is the Jellicoe. Yep. Yeah, Admiral
And like,
Jellicoe.
and that's an interesting one as well because like Jellicoe isn't necessarily a bad guy, but he is the wrong captain for that.
He's just the
crew of
opposing
that ship.
force.
Yeah, and
I mean, same thing with
Ty
Admiral
is-
Kane. She's not a bad person, but she's done more war crimes than them.
Yeah.
She's better than Tig.
Well,
I mean, the kangaroo
Pegasus
court, like-
situation evolved differently than Galacticus did.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Very
I mean,
much.
I mean,
That's true.
it's two
That's
different
true.
universe. I mean, that's two separate universes
Right.
in this universe.
But much like Tig,
Which is what causes
she
the conflict.
doesn't listen to what anyone else is saying or acknowledge them, and then she shoots people. So it's like,
She kinda
Adama
reminds
doesn't
me
I
shoot
mean, he
anyone.
kind of does that too. We just were
Kinda reminds
sitting
me
with
of-
him for so long. We're on his
Yeah.
side.
Right. Well,
Yeah, we believe
know?
that he's right, whereas with her
Yeah.
we aren't sure because we don't know. Yeah.
Exactly. We didn't sit with her for
I
an
didn't
entire
say
season.
any of them were perfect. I
No.
get that
Yeah,
they
but
are the opposing force.
She kind of
but
reminds me of
the
Marlon
Razor gave me
Brando's
some
character.
flashback. Anyway, go ahead.
She kind of reminds me of Marlon Brando's character in Apocalypse Now in a way.
I wouldn't
she just-
give Jesus. I wouldn't go that far, but yes, Colonel Kurtz is definitely.
He's an errand boy for grocery clerks, collecting a bill.
Wow.
I think they are very different people. You know, Josh, you mentioned like, well, we're just on Adama's side, but at the same time, Adama's not going to capture civilian ships, take their parts, and leave them for dead, right?
Well,
He's
that
not
is
gonna-
true.
he's-
Adama,
Right.
Did he want to? He absolutely
But I mean,
did.
he did do questionable
he got
things
talked
too,
out of
though.
it.
You
but
know?
Adama never let his captives be raped.
Yes.
That was
True.
one thing that I was like.
And
Yeah,
to
I'm not even gonna
kangaroo
attempt to
court
refute
The
that.
people for trying to
Cylons
kind of a
protect
low
were not
bar,
safe
but-
on the Pegasus.
Yeah.
And that culture came to Galactica, and you saw Hilo and Chief like stand the trial for that.
True.
So
Yeah.
But they
I
didn't
think
You
even
could
stand the
see
trial,
though,
right? It
like
was
how
like
he
a-
could have gone down that road without the
Hold
proper
up, Jace
voices
had a question.
next to him. Like, you know,
It
Sorry.
is. It's a bit of everything. And what were you saying, Jace?
Oh no, I was just saying like they didn't even get a trial, if I remember right. Wasn't that the whole situation where she like gave them a court martial before
yeah.
anyone had even
it
got
was like
back?
a
And
kangaroo
Adama
court
was
kind of
like
thing.
Adama was like, yeah, screw this, I'm sending the Marines to get my people back.
Right.
And like that was kind of like the
Just because they picked a fight with my men doesn't mean you get to execute them.
yeah, and it was kind of like I think Adama was loyal to his crew, whereas Kane was loyal to the hierarchy that gave her power. Because like she was an admiral, and she was very into being an admiral and the structure and the protocol and this war situation gives me the power.
And
to do
in the
blah, blah, blah.
Razor movie, they just show that basically because she's been just abandoned and even abandon her sister. She's just basically, she's callous. She can't turn that humanity part of her on. And Teague comes close. He comes very close, but because Adama's good at using him, he's like, Adama is basically the director of a movie that's doomed, but he makes it work. He uses infamous actors in a good way. Think of it that way. He shouldn't be using Teague, but he finds a way to use him. And same thing with all the other guys. He shouldn't be using them, but he gives them their playground. And then when they cross the line, that's when he says, okay, come to my bridge.
The thing about Adama, he knew how to take these parts that other people would consider broken parts and make them function in a good way. Colonel Ty is a great example, right? Was he a wreck as a number one? Was he an alcoholic? Yeah, he was all those things, but he was a great number two. Like, he really was a great number two.
Yeah.
He kept the
and he's
ship
like
in
your
line.
attack dog. That's useful.
Yeah. Did anyone want Starbuck? No one wanted her, but he found a way to control her and use her. All these people, they admired this man because
they all come very close.
He was good with broken toys.
He saw the wholeness of them.
What's weird is they're very infrequent drinkers, but when they drink, they get about like 5 shots and they are a wreck the next day. So it makes me wonder, where are they getting all this bourbon from?
They make it at home. It's
moonshine, baby.
Moonshine. You did mention that.
It's ambrosia.
Either way, man, it knocks them on their ass to where it made me wonder if they were drinking White Russian.
We'll return after these messages.
The Jacked Up Review Show podcast is honored to be part of the Blind Knowledge Podcast Network. Join anytime, talk the talk, and enjoy yourselves. There's something enlightening for everyone with this crowd of cool cats. Check them out.
Hey, it's Brent Pope, the host of Breakfast with Brent Pope. You've seen me on some of your favorite TV shows saying things like, "Give it up, Jimmy. You got to sink this putt to win." On Breakfast with Brent Pope, I sit down with guests from the entertainment world, and we do it all over breakfast. Or should I say Brentfast? Every week on Brentfast, you get inside Hollywood info and tips, great breakfast recs and booty debates. Most of all, you get the most delightful 30 minutes of your week. So dig in. It's Brentfast time. Listen at Brentfast.com, Apple Podcasts, or wherever fine podcasts are found.
Do you ever find yourself thinking about who would win in a fight between Goku and Superman? Hi, I'm James Gavsey, and on the Who Would Win show, me and my co-host Ray ignore anything important happening in the outside world and debate fictional battles between characters from comics, movies, and video games.
We got a new show every week, and almost always am I the winner.
Yeah, not true, Ray.
In the past, we've discussed such matches as Captain America versus Darth Vader, Solid Snake versus the Iron Giant, classic matchups like RoboCop versus Terminator, and even the Muppets versus Sesame Street.
That one was crazy. So if you're a fan of geek culture and love a spirited debate, check out the Who Would Win show wherever you get your podcasts, or check us out at whowouldwinshow.com.
Another interesting Star Trek parallel, since we mentioned Jellicoe already, and since we're talking about
They don't do any Kobayashi Marus, so points taken off.
But they do essentially do the Equinox storyline, because Kane is basically Captain Ransom, and and obviously that's probably no accident, bearing in mind the writers that are involved.
Right.
They took that one thing that they only got 2 episodes to do in Voyager, and they made however many Kane was in for and stuff like
that. Is true, yeah.
Equinox and Year of Hell, right? That's Battlestar Galactica right there.
Well, Year of Hell was going to be a whole
Except
season.
They get
That's
home
what they wanted to do.
It should have been.
Yeah.
It should have been the whole series, which is what Battlestar Galactica was.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh,
Don't even get me started on Voyager.
Promise, those are good points. We were talking Stargate earlier. Stargate universe tried a similar style, but it wasn't
a couple of years early is the problem. Yeah.
All right, because we were used to it being fun and mix of X-Files type series, and they came in, hit us over the head, and the captain murders someone while he's getting a ship ready for extraction. So that was hard to take in because they were. So I do feel like this Battlestar style is very hard to replicate. That's my point. It's because we've mentioned Space Above and Beyond before, and
this was my Space Above and Beyond methadone. That's how I started it. So I was like, I want more of that, and then it's something more. I think it could have gotten there, but we know what happened,
right? And even just the Aliens formula in general, I see so many people when they want to do something like that, they'll just still Scene's whole heart just wholesale. And it's like, no, just take the similar structure and create your own characters.
There's a lot of misunderstanding of what works.
Oh, totally.
When something works, it's a big misunderstanding.
Look
of
at all the
why
Die
it did.
Hard ripoffs. Yeah.
Now I have a Battlestar question for y'all. Sorry, Cam, I don't mean to be stealing it, but like one of my other favorite moments is from an episode that people absolutely hate, and is a hated episode, which is Unfinished Business, the boxing episode. A lot of people don't like that episode.
I love it.
I love the boxing episode.
That was a good episode.
They just had enough time to put a ring in the middle of the bar.
Well, look at it this way. This is Ronald D. Moore's Running Man type commentary. He's showing how everyone has to bring out all their animal instincts.
This is
and
his
it's got to be in a
Cinderella Man.
fucking stupid boxing match. Like,
yeah.
But yes, if you go
Are they
into it,
celebrating Festivus?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm curious what you all think of that episode.
I'm airing a grievance.
Yeah, air those grievances.
Yeah.
The idea of that is actually sound. That even in the kind of primitive military setting that Galactica is in terms of the rest of the fleet that is now gone, it just feels out of place. But there's I don't think there's like a societal equivalent they could use. I mean, in the original series, they had the game where they, would glorify basketball, where there's a lot, with content.
Interesting.
So
I didn't make that parallel.
Well, that's what Samuel Tianda's played, right?
Sorry?
Samuel Tianda's his team, his resistance team on Caprica was like a team that played that sport.
The Pyramid games?
Pyramid, yeah, that's it.
They
Pyramid,
played Pyramid, yeah.
Yeah. To your guys' point, there could have been some extra build-up, but I think the idea was better overall, regardless of the execution. But I see you guys' point.
See, it's a good idea, but maybe execution was off.
Yeah.
And people have mentioned that the fact that there's 20 some episodes was a good thing in some ways. I think that's where it's hindered. Because maybe they had a little too much time to fill, and maybe some like
Black
not quite
Market
fully baked ideas.
Now I will go on the record.
Like now we have to put too many.
I will defend Black Market from season 2.
Oh,
everyone hates that episode.
I don't hate that.
Stinker.
I know everyone seems to hate on it, and it's just
I don't hate that.
It's not great, but it's not the worst one. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I love me some.
What's the worst one?
What's the worst one?
The worst one is in season 3. It's A Day in the Life. It's the one where Adama is reflecting on his marriage to his ex-wife, and they have no chemistry, and like nothing really happens meaningfully in that episode.
All right, well, we're putting you in the airlock.
That's what I'm saying. Too many episodes. That can be a bad thing.
That's where Galen and Kelly are stuck in the at the part of the ship that blew out, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that one sucks.
Like that B story becomes more interesting than the main story.
Yeah, that one sucks.
Now here's a question: are you guys watching these episodes back to back, or are you doing them one at a time?
We did it once a week.
Okay.
When we watched it the second
So I am biased. If you watch these all back together, you kind of feel like it's all one connected movie. It makes a difference for me personally. I find if I just watch one, it doesn't do anything for me and I lose interest real fast. I think it handles subplots better than most shows, because there's so many other shows where I could go on for days, but just like there's some where it's just like this supporting character doesn't have chemistry with this character. I only like the plot A, but plot B kind of sank the episode. It's just, and I don't know. I can, because there's so much to focus on, plot A's and B's, sometimes C's in the show still have a lot going for them, I feel.
Yeah, there's something redeemable in every episode, at least, something interesting at least.
Yeah. And there's very few shows that you could go back and rewatch on a weekly basis. You almost on a rewatch, you almost just have to commit to just watching as many as you can, as often as you can.
Yeah, because there's too much going on.
There's just too much going. Yeah, but
you'll get distracted. You see something shiny.
On a rewatch, you're going to be able to identify those episodes maybe that were weaker, that you glossed over when you had to watch them.
I don't know how much of it is.
Yeah, because it's more of an event.
They had a pretty
burn through this and go on.
Writing crew, but it is interesting how much of it is that's a David Icke episode versus that's a Leslie Carnes or Ronald D. Moore episode. Man.
I mean, I'd put the first couple seasons up against almost any other show. I think they're so good.
Yeah.
Where would you say,
Especially the
Josh, it drops
beginning.
off for you?
In like season 3, there was I wish I could remember the episode exactly, but there was an episode where, I don't know, they had this big Cylon ship that they could have destroyed, and they were just like all of a sudden being like, no, we shouldn't do that. It's like, they just did a genocide on you. Like, what do you mean you shouldn't do that? Like, what is going on here? Like, I sort of got what they were trying to say, but it doesn't work. It didn't work for me in that universe where like there's thousands of them left after.
Have you seen it lately?
It was just, no, I haven't gotten back to it.
So Josh is saying he would side with Gata. That's good to know.
I mean, if a bunch of robots are going to try to exterminate me, I'm probably not giving quarter, you know?
Okay, so I take it back. Gata's
I don't know.
definitely
if
worse
they've
than any of these
exterminated
characters.
99% of our population, I'm probably not going to like just be like, these guys are fine though. Just let them go.
I wouldn't know what to do, but I wouldn't do what Gata does. Man, that dude, total piece of work. No,
He's a
redeeming
weaselly
qualities.
little bastard.
Oh man, like he just decided I'm gonna kiss everyone's ass, and then when it suits me, I'm gonna do my own thing. And then when they get all taken over, he's like, I surrender. It was like, after all this problems, risking everybody's life.
Man, I love Gata.
I'm a big grudge guy, so
you're not supposed to
that's
like
part of
him.
What?
I liked Gata.
You're
too.
supposed to understand. I like him. I understand why he did what he did. Doesn't make it right.
He's
but I
so
like his character.
complicated.
By the end of the season, it's pretty clear you're not supposed to like him.
No, I
You
disagree.
feel
'cause
bad for him. He injured
didn't.
himself. He tried to bring a new vision to the world, and obviously he had bad help with Zarek next to him.
Anyone who allies themselves with Baltar and then just goes in various places. He was the Leroy Jenkins of the team.
They don't tell you that he's a gay character and that affinity for Baltar might be something else. It might not be completely logical where he's coming from with Baltar.
I'm not saying the writing is bad. I get that he's totally
like
seduced.
Gata's character, but it was he's like a tragic character for
Yes.
Okay, I will accept that, but don't tell me he's likable.
I think one thing that gets glossed over with Gata as well.
Sympathetic might be the better word.
He's one of the few characters that actually makes an attempt to make amends for the stuff that he did as well, and he doesn't do it in a showy way. Because he's the one that's secretly like feeding information to the Resistance on New Caprica, like flipping over the dogwall stuff. He doesn't want a claim for that. He's just like guilty and he's making up for it, but he doesn't tell anyone. They don't know, even when his life is almost
pretty
in danger.
hard to come back from.
Right.
Well, yeah, but who on Battlestar didn't do a mutiny? To be fair.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, there's a mutiny
happened
every
all the
other
time.
episode.
That's a really good point.
Yeah. Dama was mutinying against Kane at one point, right? Like,
and
right, because she overstepped her power.
So, like, yeah.
That's the whole speech that Apollo gave during Baltar's trial. Like, who among us hasn't done some stuff like
that? Was a great speech. That was definitely a great speech.
Speaking of good stuff, the whole trial storyline, and having Mark Shepard involved as well.
Don't you love how they had to keep that all secret because during the early days of the internet? So it's so funny seeing the special feature. The cinematographer's getting impatient. He's going, "Let's shoot, all fucking ready," and the director's having something from his headset. He's like, "I won't know what's in the can until the next day in the editing room." And they filmed like 5 different versions, and that's the one they went with, just so no one would spoil that twist. But
they do that on RuPaul's Drag Race.
Same
universe.
Similar, very similar.
Oh my word!
I didn't think on the Battlestar Galactica show we'd get a RuPaul Drag Race reference, but that's fantastic.
You better work.
I was not expecting that at all.
Well,
I was not expecting that. That is amazing. RuPaul as a commander.
Yeah, well, they spoiled like the winner one time, so they shot everybody winning, and you don't know until it airs who won.
Oh.
Yeah, I would just keep the. Can I have the tape of me winning? And that's only what I would show my friends.
Yes,
I can watch it. It's never on. Don't
Charlie
worry.
Sheen mode activate. Winning.
I think by the end of the series, though, there's not supposed to be a character you really dislike, like, except for maybe Cavill, right? But even Cavill, you can be a little sympathetic towards because here he's created, and he could be this perfect being, and they decide to make him human. Like, I get it. I get it. I'd be a little pissed too, but like,
Cavill's Hitler. No,
I think it's hard. I think
Yeah.
it's hard
Nick,
if
what are you
you
talking
have
about?
if you have like a bad relationship with religion in general, then it's really hard to give any sort of leeway to this character.
Yeah, Cavil's not
that's
Hitler. Cavill
right
is
on.
Hades.
I agree with
Like,
that.
that's the thing. Like
That's
Cavill
fair.
Cavill is Hades versus like the Zeus that you get from Ty. Like he's
Yeah.
the kind of like the ostracized outcast. Like he's because Hades is the eldest brother even in Greek mythology and stuff, but it's his baby brother Zeus that is in charge of everything. And like he gets usurped from his
Okay,
throne.
so then
and
who's the
everything.
Leroy Jenkins of the team? If it's not Gata.
Starbuck.
Yeah, it
No,
almost has to be.
Starbuck brought a lot to the show. I know that Nick's co-host
And
doesn't
we're outnumbered
like her.
600-1. Bitch is already
She
out there.
runs around with guns and underwear.
And so does everybody else. So
If
what's
anyone
your
is going to
point?
yell their name and charge into battle, it is going to be Starbuck.
Yeah.
Oh,
I didn't think that was an insult. I thought it was a compliment.
How?
Yeah, Leroy Jenkins is a hero among men.
Yeah.
No, Leroy
I
Jenkins
mean,
is the one who gets everyone
Leroy
killed.
Jenkins. Say it right.
That's how I see it.
Actually, to like put some nuance on it, probably Boltar is the Leroy Jenkins.
There you
'Cause
go.
he's the one that's
He
constantly
created
charging
the
in
fucking
and making
race.
all
I
of the
mean,
mistakes, causing all the
silence.
problems and stuff.
Right, he's the one who gives the codes and like gives away like everything. He's the
I love how he's
So
annihilator.
squirrely though.
And he's always thinking
He's
that
never
he's
gonna
doing the
shout
best,
that
so,
from
like-
the rooftop.
I love how he kills his aide while the Cylons are forcing him. He's like, "You got to make a choice." Oh no, I don't want to do that. Oh, it's a bad idea.
No, yeah, he needs a test tube.
Here's a chance for you. If we were to do a proper new version of this, we've talked about this many times before. Don't reboot it. Just do a different version of it. Who would you cast?
Edward James Olmos. No.
Yeah, it's hard to think of
Edward
other
James
people.
Olmos. Says Edward James Olmos.
Are we going to do like an all of time and space recast, or we have to grab today?
Let's go with current stuff that it doesn't. Let's just say you have plenty of money. It's crowdfunded, so we don't have to worry.
I want Tom Cruise to be Baltar.
Yes,
to be
I do too.
Scientology connection. I dig it.
What? No.
Like you've seen him in Collateral. Him as a villain is awesome.
I
Tropic
think
Thunder.
more Tropic
Yes.
Thunder.
There you go. I dig
villain.
it.
he could be
Asshole.
Starbuck, though.
He can't run around though. He just has to be.
No, that's a writer. He has to.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's no
He has to be
motorcycles.
Starbuck.
They'll give him
flying
a
enough
treadmill
places
and
to
stuff.
run.
He can run on.
Okay, perfect. I'll take that. He's on the treadmill. Okay.
He'll just run back and forth up the launch bay. That's even laps.
And he
you
did
keep
this sort of impossible war thing in that
Well,
Day After
and he
Tomorrow.
has to
or
have
what's
his
called?
Tropic Thunder
Edge of
line.
Tomorrow.
I will
Yeah.
fuck you
Edge of
up.
Tomorrow's awesome.
Would you keep Starbuck as a woman?
I think so. I think
Yeah,
that's
I
what
would
makes
go-
that
Yeah, I
character
kinda
so
prefer
I think it
that
depends
way.
on. I think it depends on the dynamic that you're just trying to build on the cast.
How about there be two Starbucks? How about they be twins? One guy, one girl.
Stars
And
Buck.
they're kicking ass.
No.
together.
Or father-daughter?
Buck.
Star and Buck.
Oh, there you go.
You
Oh,
can
there we
make
go.
Leah.
See, now
Leah's
you're
Starbuck
daughter
and
turning it
daughter.
instead of
into
a
an
son.
anime.
Coming to NBC this fall.
With twin Starbucks. Now it's an anime.
Now I kind of want to
There
do
you
just all
go.
female cast just to make
Miyazaki
nerds' heads
presents.
explode.
Now it is an anime, but everyone's gonna watch.
Oh, that would be good too.
I would actually love to see a reboot with an anime.
From the creators of
Edward
No
James
Cost Plus
Olmos,
and
like
Gundam.
grizzly,
Oh.
like anime character. That would be so
Yeah.
cool.
That would be
There you
an
go.
interesting. That would
It
be
would,
interesting.
I could see it like as Cowboy Bebop kind of like.
Okay, I'll follow your lead. So from the
You could
writers
even
of
bring them
Cowboy
all back for
Bebop
the voices.
and Appleseed. Yeah, it'd be interesting seeing the voices. And in fact, yes, animation would actually make way
And it
better
would
sense.
give you, it would give you like so much freedom with the Cylons and the world building and the.
Yeah, you wouldn't
Yeah.
have
The battle
budgetary
scene.
constraints.
Budgetary, exactly.
Somebody call Peacock right now.
And then
There
you
you
could get,
go,
you could
man.
get D. Bradley Baker to voice all of the Cylons because that's his.
Yeah,
Oh,
Even the-
there you
even
go.
the
He is
women
a
ones.
god on the VO community. Like,
There you go.
Jesus,
James
what he
Arnold
does is
Taylor,
incredible.
J.K. Simmons. Yeah, just about
You
everything.
know, Babylon 5 just did a movie.
That
an
was so
animated-
good. So much
Yeah.
fun.
I kind of
Amy
love
Zarkov
a
does
reboot.
voiceover too. She does.
I'd like a
characters.
reboot from the Cylons perspective, like
There
show
you
them
go.
the initial
Oh,
revolt.
Kind of like
that'd be a good one,
Wicked
too.
and all those other ones that we see.
Yeah,
Which
just
is a
saw
good
Wicked the other
contrast.
day.
Yeah.
To see
Yeah.
them like wake up and be human and look like they're like.
Dude looks like a
They're
Cylon.
like, who am I? Why are there?
Mhm.
Or
One
just
of
show
my
all their
favorite-
mistreatment by humans, and
Well, one
Right.
of my
then you're
favorite
really on
Robot
their side.
Holocaust, literally.
one
Kinda
of
did
my
that.
favorite
They
was
kind of
when
did that with Orville.
They kind of did do that
Oh.
on there, yeah.
Yeah.
Just with more fart noises. But yeah, same deal. Yeah.
But the Cylons are technically up until the genocide part are sympathetic. It's at that point that they lose that.
Okay, you sound like a
that whole thing.
It swings and roundabouts, isn't it?
I know.
The first war, the humans started because they were threatened by them, right?
Yeah.
So, really, the Cylons
Okay,
are
so I'm
kind
going
of
to cut you out there,
sympathetic.
Nick. You're doing what you do with your Spielberg thing. So Nick has this thing on his.
I'm just saying.
Nick has
counterpoint.
It's like saying Germany had the trains running on time up until the genocide.
Italy.
They were fine,
though.
I mean,
if you can look past everything they did in World War II, they had snappy outfits.
What if you take genocide out of the equation? I mean, what did they do wrong?
They gave us the Volkswagen Bug.
Yeah.
So
you guys are so bad.
I'm not talking about the Germans, people. I don't want to get canceled. I'm talking about Cylons.
But just so you guys know, just I'm calling time here. Nick does this funny thing where he and his co-hosts give each other flack for liking certain directors and claiming they're better than the others, and then they spend the rest of the episode before they even get to describing what they're reviewing, saying no, Scorsese or Spielberg or Ron Howard. No, these guys are better than that. It's like they're doing their own little bracket game of who's the best film.
We do.
I feel like he's doing that here now. Who's the bastard? Who's less of a bastard?
All the time, man. That's what makes this show so great. It's like there's no
I can't believe you guys tolerate each other.
Everyone's kind of a dirtbag, minus Hilo. Hilo's the only one I think
Hilo is kind of the only dude that's like
the Boy Scout. Yeah.
I mean, he does have on a scale of normal people, he's not brilliant, but in the context of the whole cast, he is by far the best. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he never loses his moral compass the whole series.
Yeah, from the very beginning, he gives up his seat for.
He's emotionally grounded the entire show.
He's simple but good dude.
First one to see the Cylons is people that shouldn't be treated like garbage, right?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
Shares his radiation.
Yeah,
I mean, he fell in love with a Cylon, man.
And what a perfect character to raise the future of humanity, right? And
he's a beautiful, simple man.
He's a good dad.
He's a great.
He's a good dude. He's a dude that'll come help you lay sod in your yard. He'll invite you over for the Memorial
He'll help
Day
you move.
barbecue.
You don't need beer and pizza. He doesn't care. He'll bring his
Don't
truck.
you love how
Hilo's a good dude?
Don't you love how
he's going to jump your car when it's broken down? He's the guy you want.
Remember when they're doing the Planet Siege episode? He's right by Sam, ready to go and do an extraction, and he's like, "Can we proceed yet? Because Adama Jr.'s, Lee is preventing us from going forward." What's your order, Sam?
Speaking of Sam, actually, he's probably I don't think he has too much terrible about him either. Samuel T. Anders, the kind of store brand, Walmart brand Apollo.
Because don't you love how
Walmart Apollo?
Don't you love how
he's a Cylon in the end? They just shave his head and throw him in a tub at the end.
Yeah, it was really messed up. But I love how he finds out he's a Cylon, and then all these other people, including Starbuck, are like, if you were ever one of them, I'd kill you. And then when she finds out she's one as well, he's like, I'm still here. So that was a great moment.
He's one of the only characters I never really got attached to. He never did it for me. He never.
But he's so pretty.
There was just something about I could take him or leave him always.
I wanted his muscles. I'm sorry.
I mean, obviously, who doesn't?
But he was a cool hunk. He wasn't a dumb hunk. Well, now, so how does the Cylon sex thing work?
Oh, I know.
Holy shit, that was quick.
Because much like Westworld,
she's been waiting for that question for the last hour and a half. Please, somebody ask about Cylon. Please, somebody ask about Cylon.
Their spines glow red when they're climaxing, and that's how
Cliff's already left. He's like, no.
Nobody's ever had sex with the Cylon doggy style because their spines glowing red.
Did they get rid of that red glowy thing?
They just glow. There's the scene with.
Now we really got an explicit rating.
That's called a glow plug.
Yeah.
That is actually a big plot hole, because do we honestly believe that Boltard doesn't have a mirror on his ceiling?
Like, what the fuck are we talking about?
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's got them everywhere.
Aaron's
Touché, sir.
We always said that should be the real Cylon.
Filming that, he's gonna watch later. Yeah.
So I guess you kind of answered it. I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm gonna move on. Want to hear more? Listen to the OnlyFans portion that doesn't exist.
What was the chief's name?
Tyrrell.
Oh yeah,
Tyrrell,
Tyrrell. Yeah. Oh man,
There was all the kinds of weird stuff going on with him.
and when he finds out that the reporter gal, who was part of Rosalind's staff, has killed his wife, he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna fucking kill you."
He's in a way, he's kind of like Star-Lord in Avengers Infinity War. If he would have just chilled out for like 2 seconds, like that would have been over.
Take a breath,
dude.
Take a breath. And isn't it funny how, despite everyone's anger reactions, I don't think I heard anyone use the dreaded "calm down."
That's good.
I mean, it's a little too late. He snapped her neck, basically, right?
Right,
He
but
choked her and snapped her neck.
it's interesting how, "calm down" always has the opposite effect. That loses everyone's trust
it's the
with
worst
you.
thing you can say.
Yeah, it makes me go, "Oh, so you think I'm a crazy person? You want me to shut the fuck up instead of..."
Yeah, you double down immediately when someone tells you that.
And I don't think anyone does this in this show. They're all kind of like, "Hey, I'm listening," or "Hey, what's wrong?" or
I think they've
Probably
learned
just all
not
too
to
tired.
question
Right,
Tyrrell
they're
because
too tired. That's true. That everyone's having insomnia on this. This is for sure.
Well, and Tyrrell has this tendency to sleepwalk and beat the crap out of you, so you probably don't
Oh
want to
my
make him angry.
gosh.
So
that too.
That was a good.
And if he does that to me, I'm gonna end up falling in love with him and getting married, obviously, because that's what happened in the show. So,
I just hope you don't smell like cabbage.
oh, can't promise that. Yeah.
Oh man, that sounds.
What a diss by him too, right?
The
Oh,
cabbage smell
Cabbage
of her.
Patch. Yeah.
oh man.
It reminds me on. You guys are going into.
Aaron-
You're reviewing Taika Waititi. If you ever do Reservation Dogs, start doing a counter on how many times the deputies call each other shit ass. It's a hysterical just insult, but it's a great show, but it's just funny how
it's that one in particular that says it.
Right, but it's just a funny insult.
Also, all the Willow references are amazing. There's
There's a Bloodsport reference, there's a Lost Boys reference, but that just I love how you guys talked about the insults on this show earlier. They are the perfect definition of an insult. It's half of it doesn't make sense, and at the same time, it gets under your skin.
Yeah, there's I think the only other one I thought that is good, because even like from outside I knew fracking, is Smeg from Red Dwarf.
Oh, Smeg.
Smeg
Yeah.
head.
Smeg head.
It's like
Yeah. Oh, I love
immediately
Red
like I
Dwarf so
got it.
much.
Like,
I
and
love
it's like
Red
the only
Dwarf.
one I can think of where they did it as well. You know.
No, that's true. A fictional insult. Yeah,
No, that's a real thing.
No, that's a real one.
It is.
Google it.
Well, we
Google
will
it.
not
You're
Google
not
it. We're
gonna be
not
happy
Googling
about
it.
it.
I'm Googling it.
I'm not
Oh
gonna say
yeah,
it,
I know what it is.
I don't think I can do that.
It's
But I don't
upsetting.
think they knew that at the time, because I think I started.
I don't know. They're English. Weird.
I think they do.
If they did, kudos.
I think they knew.
They knew what they
I'm
were
pretty
doing.
sure they do.
There's a
I think
company
it was
now
like a
that
little
makes-
John Skeet thing where people didn't know what it meant, and they just could get away with it.
There's a
The
company now
censors
that
didn't know
makes
what it meant, so they just
fridges
let it
and
go.
ovens and stuff, and
No,
they're
that's
called
a good point,
Smeg, and I'm
Josh.
like,
I
there's
just
no
think-
way they don't know.
You'll
see it in hotels and stuff. So
No, that's a good point, because not everybody has there's having the guts to do it and then knowing how to do it to where people will laugh one way or the other. And
Right.
I think that's I give anyone any of those props, because I couldn't do it. I would back down. I'd be like, I don't want to deal with people taking it out of context.
That's the best.
but yeah, it is an impossibly hard thing to do, and it's been going around forever. In sci-fi, is to
No
bring
way.
in words, to bring in words and make them sound like okay, like we mentioned
There's a
Star
funny-
Wars. They would always just throw in, oh, that guy's a Nerf herder, and it's like okay, that sounds
I
ridiculous.
hate that insult. It's so great. What's
But,
It
what's
just
the-
sounds
to do
racist.
it well is perfect.
Firefly, they just brought in Mandarin.
Yeah,
They
that's
did everything. They just did
that's
everything in
true.
Mandarin.
That's so
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
What is it? What's the insult that Louis Gossett Jr.'s alien character calls Dennis Quaid in Enemy Mine?
Enemy Mine.
Oh,
It's a
God,
great.
I shouldn't remember
That's
now.
such a
best Star
great
Trek
movie.
It is a great movie.
That movie costs like $40 million.
He
When
insults-
movies cost
he
like
insults
10,
Mickey
and
Mouse.
it's two people in a room.
He
I don't
does
know how
use
that
Mickey
happened.
Mouse.
He
and then-
insults Mickey because he tells him
His
Dennis
name's
Quaid tells him
Mickey,
Mickey
and-
Mouse is one of the great philosophers.
Yes!
And finally he insults Mickey Mouse.
Suck it, Disney. And
Yeah, right.
And then Mickey says one back, "You're one big stupid dope."
Yeah.
You're like, what?
Enemy.
Stupid dope.
Stupid dope.
I mean, and it's not like in Avengers when Tom Hiddleston stuck Quim in and nobody caught it. So
Yeah, that was intense, but that's a little different.
It's 5% of Americans were going to get that, and it was the 5% that watched Benny Hill in the 70s.
Oh, so true.
So yeah, so they came out with that, and I'm like, they did not just let that. And
I mean, I had to do a similar thing when Gremlins came out, and I'm like, they're calling Gizmo caca, so they're saying he's shit. Is that what they're saying? Okay.
Well, that's what you say when you put water on him and then feed him. You're like, oh shit. So, yeah, they just shorten it because eventually you're going to say shit if you own one of those.
Shit, fuck, goddamn, as my grandfather in the Air Force used to say, in that order. Shit, fuck, goddamn.
I have a list of ones that I whip out when I need to use them. Yeah, it's
and when you gotta use it, you gotta use it.
I think I once close to 10 words strung together.
Really?
As a kid, yeah. It's Jesus H, bald-headed Christ, and 10 other men. So
nice.
Yeah, I know, right? You really need
that
to
is amazing
because you have to commit to getting that out.
Oh man, so you were doing method
you need a
acting.
full breath before you get into
Yeah. Oh, you're saving it because you've reached a point where you're just trying not to yell at someone and you just can't. So you're just like, and then you snap. A couple of my airmen caught that one.
Well, so before everyone goes, what did you think of the cover of Hendrix All Above the Watchtower?
Oh, you mean Dylan's All Along the Watchtower?
Yeah. Sorry, yeah.
No, he's right. No, you're right. It's Hendrix's cover of the original Dylan.
All right.
Which Dylan considers to be the definitive version and will not play it live.
Wow.
I will recommend that you go listen to Frank Marino's cover of All Along the Watchtower.
Barry McCreary, he did. There was an instrumental that was done. I kind of enjoyed that one a lot too.
Yep.
I love the whole.
Dave Matthews Band does one as well. I heard, but I hate Dave Matthews, so I won't listen to it.
You heard for the last 22 minutes.
Whoa. Yeah. Burn,
yeah, Watchtower.
I think you have them mixed up with Creed. I'm just glad there's not a moment where they play "Let the Bodies Hit the Floor."
they do that in Stargate.
I disagree. Yeah.
What was
there's an episode of Stargate where it's Vegas, which is technically the 99th episode.
Oh,
of Atlantis,
that's
but
right.
It's like the 100th special, and there's a wraith in Las Vegas, and he's
That's
putting
true.
his makeup on to look like a goth and let the hot bodies hit the floor.
They play Drowning Pool.
Is it Along the Watchtower that they play? I mean, there's a song that's
that's the song that activates the silence, which is just brilliant. Like the whole ties, it's in the fracking ship sequence. But the fact that like they play this instrumental and it's the one that Starbuck's been playing on the piano as well, like the way that works is really good. But the fact that when the silence get activated, they say the lyrics, and that's when you realize that's what song it is. And the lyrics are also
they were doing it before Siri.
Yeah, and it's like appropriate for the situation that the character is in at the time as well. So like, I can't think of
All Above the Watchtower.
Who's I'm having a complete blank on names now, but the one who was on Star Trek Discovery, like one of the final five. I can't think of the character's name.
The Middle Eastern gal.
Well, like she's like throwing up in the toilet or something, and she's like, I can't get no relief, and just like all of these like the way that the lyrics just like click.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and then when they're all sat at the bar, and Starbucks hallucinating her dad or whatever, and she's figuring out the piano that was like the signal that she got transmitted, and then like the final, four of the final five are sat at the bar, and they're like, oh shit, that's why is she playing our song? Like I love the way that they wove that in, because like the mystery of it being a real world thing, and you're like, well, how does that song exist?
And the fact that the composer was actually playing that there, like they had to strategically cut him out of the shots, do different angles, just so focus on her. And I mean, BB and Jason talked about it in the trivia, but I do find it interesting because most movies and shows, I've done extra work. Usually they will just keep you isolated, and sometimes they'll play songs, but they just want to cut to B-roll, and so it is interesting when you get people behind the scenes. Yeah, just behind the scenes, and they're actually on set filming so that the moment registers the way it's meant to be in the editing room. Yeah.
I love all this discussion. No one ever talked about the amazing soundtrack, though. We just had Bear McCreary's mention, but the song for the Battlestar Galactica, the Grand Old Lady, like that flute tune Gata's laments that he has, like
so underrated. Yeah,
the original theme being worked in as the national anthem as well.
Yes, the colonial anthem.
He's doing great works on the Lord of the Rings show. He is perfectly doing a tribute to Howard Shore while doing his own thing that he's done on the Terminator show, Outlander.
Well, he does the God of War games as well.
He done that.
Gets
Walking
a lot
Dead.
of work now.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he gets a lot of work.
I mean, the sound effects in the space battles, I love too. Like the Foley work on that is just so good. It's so
the fact that
silent.
you hear the guns reverberating through the ship rather than from outside.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
It just feels so right.
Yeah, you feel the static. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the favorite moments that I've got noted down is like the we didn't even mention the Adama maneuver, the like dropping into the atmosphere, lots of Vipers and jumping away. But it's the bit after that where they get surrounded by the 4 base stars, and like the camera pans back and it just goes into it just fades into silence, and then all of a sudden you get the rocket come in from Pegasus, and it just charges in like the full batteries and starts taking things out. Like the way that the sound design works, in that, it's just so good.
I love it.
Yeah, and I don't know how they did it. I wish they had done some featurettes on how they created that sound, because the Cylons don't sound like just a, Terminator Skynet knockoff. Although I do think they're related because of the Alien Blade Runner.
It's familiar but unique at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The crossover we haven't mentioned in the shared universe thing is how does Knight Rider tie in with the Cylons? He's got the red switching light on the front, so
Oh my god!
I didn't want to go there.
Yeah,
earlier,
it does.
So thank you.
Yeah, I've always thought that since first seeing Knight Rider as a kid.
Yeah, I mean, it could be the sort of final form.
Yeah, especially
it's a transformer to answer your question.
So Kit was like the Skynet for the Cylons.
Infrared sweep all the time. Yeah, they're tired of having humans like tell them what to do.
Yeah, they're tired of Hasselhoff being like, take me here. No,
well, did
get it? I'd be tired of him too.
Yeah, did Glenn got up to in the back seat, would be like, exterminate all humans.
Battlestar Galactica was Glenn Larson was involved with Battlestar Galactica. I'm wondering, was he involved with Knight Rider? Does anyone know?
Looking up.
I honestly think it was done that way on Knight Rider just because of the time frame.
Yes, he was. Yep. And he was, and and Steven De Souza, who created this whole Valverde, wrote a bunch of those. So yeah, maybe you're on something, right?
Yeah, maybe they like that look of that pulsating eye.
What a connection!
Cinematic universe.
It gives the metal body like a life.
Yes. Instead of just, and it is weird. It's like, it's CGI, but not to the point where it doesn't tell the story. And I think that is, people should look at that, because we see other shows where the CGI just takes us out of it just because it just doesn't look done. You know?
Well, that was TV CGI back then,
I know, but still, I mean, looking at it here on this Blu-ray, it was just more interesting to me just how it told the basics instead of, it showed it when it needed to show. It's not to the point where
it was
it's
a
so
smart move making the main Cylons humans.
That and like you say, the sound editing and the plot twist, but it's not like Babylon 5 where you'll like this, but it's gonna be a while before you can get past the 90s CD-ROM graphics,
and I'm gonna have to jump off here in a minute, but can we at least acknowledge that this was a sci-fi show? And at one point,
yes.
When that channel was not anything.
Sci-fi is not.
That's why they wanted it to die, because it made all their other stuff inferior looking.
Look more terrible.
They pulled a Roger Corman where they're like, we can't use this footage. It's too good.
Yeah. But that's a good point. I mean, everyone expected it to be garbage because it was on Sci-Fi.
It was Canadian. It can't be good.
Well, it was co-made with Sky in the UK as well. It's one of there were quite a few shows around then that were like.
So isn't that wild? How Sky played the first season, then didn't revisit it. But I mean, Jason and BB pointed it out. It's so rare for a show that's an American Canadian production to air in the UK first and then here in the States.
Yeah.
I don't think they would do that nowadays, unless I'm mistaken.
Well, we barely even get them at all at this point. So
yeah.
What the hell's going on here?
Crazy.
So I'm going to let everybody promote some of their stuff. Mark, what do you got on the visually stunning?
The Visually Stunning Movie Podcast. Well, we're in movie season, which is great. So we have lots of new releases. I don't know when this is actually going to drop for you.
Summer.
But, summer. So yeah, so we've been through most of the good stuff. Dune is out. Deadpool might be out by the time this episode's dropped.
This is what this needed more of. We needed a Deadpool.
I hope so. Fingers crossed. I love Deadpool. I'm hoping that Disney doesn't screw it up, even though they said it's going to be rated R, because it can be rated R and suck. But
This is true.
That's my tangent for a second. No,
It can be rated R, but if the script's still bad,
but if the script is still bad, that's right. And if they let Ryan Reynolds run too free, like they did with Taika in Love and Thunder, they let him run just a little too free.
Oh.
Yeah.
So no, it's great. It's movie season. I love it. I love it to death. I love watching them. I love talking about them. It's just fantastic. And a quick musical tangent. Since we were talking about Hendrix.
Yeah, without this new Dune, you probably wouldn't have Battlestar. Yeah.
That is actually true.
Amazing.
If you watch, you guys will have watched Kung Fu Panda 4 by now. If you have kids, by the time this airs, there's a great There's an Asian instrumental cover of Crazy Train.
No.
What? Yes.
Wait, Ozzy?
One of the few bright spots, actually.
Well, that actually sounds interesting.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I will watch it for just that now.
I don't have kids.
In a chase scene.
Yeah, BB's like, I'm out.
It's in a chase scene, so it does make sense.
I guess I'm buying that this weekend.
Perfect. Jason and BB, would you care to promote what's coming up on the show next? You're doing Our Flag Means Death. Speaking of Taika, and Jason, if you want to promote your documentary, it looks like you're giving a really great voice to victims.
Yeah. So on the podcast, like you said, we're doing Our Flag Means Death, and it's only 18 episodes, so we'll get through that fairly quickly. And then I don't know. We've talked about doing some other shows that we've mentioned here, like Firefly and I don't know, The Expanse or something like that. And at some point we're going to circle back and cover Caprica and Blood and Chrome as well, which I've seen before. BB has not seen them.
BB's like, don't drag me through hell. Please don't drag me through hell.
Well, I'm excited.
I'll take an excuse to rewatch.
I know.
Those.
I'm just playing around.
I like watching shows, and I'm really looking forward to exploring new genres and different universes.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
And it's possible.
So check out our podcast and let us know what you think we should listen to.
Sure.
Or watch. I mean,
we've slowly been watching Star Trek for the first time. So we've been through the original series, Next Generation.
Yeah, so
we're
Nick's
almost
going
done
for
with
Next
Deep Space
Gen.
Nine.
He's introducing the crew, and it's so funny how some of them are like, fuck this. Oh, it got better. Fuck this. Like, it's the third season. Chill.
Well, if you're trying to do chronological, I guess you should start with Enterprise.
Instead of release order, always release order.
Getting from there
Season 3 and 4 of
here.
Enterprise.
Yeah.
Then
Great
we're
show,
talking.
except for that.
Yeah.
Oh, then you'll wonder, who is that guy? Is that Riker and Troy? I haven't seen Next Gen. Oh. Oh, that's awesome. So, Jason, when is your documentary coming out?
I don't have a release date for you. It's something
Okay,
it's been a long time passion project. It's been almost 10 years that it's been.
If you ever want me to link it,
on.
I know you say it's heavy, but
What's it on?
It's it's called Not My Father's Child, and it's about like child abuse and religious indoctrination, and it centers around the Westboro Baptist Church in Topeka, Kansas, under Fred Phelps, and it's
Nick, you gotta pay them a visit and say, stop that shit.
They won't listen.
I know. I'm
Associate with
just
those people.
heathen.
If anyone's unfamiliar with them, they're the church that protests at like funerals and God hates fags, and
Yeah, they're like the worst people on the planet.
yeah,
They're
the worst people you
terrible.
can think of.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
Fred
Coming
Phelps
soon.
had 13 children, and so our story is about 3 of the children that left the church when they turned 18, and then they went on to try to recover from their trauma, basically. So it's
geez.
very heavy,
That's
but it's
incredible.
also very hopeful in the end.
Well, now that
I would love to check that out.
Yeah, let's give you a round of applause.
I would love
That's
to check
quite
that
an
out.
accomplishment right
What was
there.
the name of it again?
It's called Not My Father's
Not My
Child.
Father's Child.
So
Now-
we got some clips on YouTube if you look that up.
Now,
and
congratulations.
There's
That's
Facebook, Twitter, and stuff.
That's not easy to tell. So kudos.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. well, not awesome, but it
You know,
very important and well thought out. No, that's good. Okay, so Nick, keep up with the Kardashians. Once you go through next gen, what?
Yeah, we're working our way through Next Generation. We started with Deep Space Nine, then we did Battlestar Galactica. Now we're doing Next Generation. I told the guys we needed a palate cleanser. You can't go from DS9 to Next Generation right away because the quality decrease is pretty significant in the first season. But anyways, by the time this airs, we'll probably be in the second season of Next Generation, and our goal is to get Will back on the show and John Frakes
Will
back
Riker?
on the show. We've had him,
I'm just kidding.
Will Wheaton.
Johnny
Different
Frakes.
Will. Yeah, Will Wheaton.
John Frakes, Will Wheaton and John Frakes. Yeah, so they've been on the show before. So hopefully by this time I can say they've been on again. So tune in. We should have them.
I just went through the newer Outer Limits and I saw Will Wheaton in one. That was a space one.
Oh, I like that one. That was a
yeah, it really is so twisted. Evil Robert Patrick. Josh Hansen, when is Comic Book and Action Book Club coming back?
We're taking a little break on the comic, but Action Movie Book Club is back. The last couple episodes we did Starship Troopers and an Upgrade. Upgrade's fantastic.
You want to plug what you do for a living?
We'll be doing the first Dune. It should have been out now, but like I said, A Death in the Family. So
right, but
that'll take a minute. But
want to take them behind the curtain on what you do?
I mean, I do a lot of things. I work for Pro Football Focus doing data analytics, and then I'm also like in the process of writing a pilot script for series. Dark Depths series. That's a trilogy of novels that me and the original author are adapting into a series at the moment.
Right, I'll be there at the crowd if there's ever a crowdfunder. I'll be there. Cliff and Aaron, what minute of Predator 2 are you on now?
Oh, great question. I think we're around 26 to 30, basically.
2,
yeah, Predator 2. It's about the scene after Gary Busey's made his first appearance, and
I love Predator 2 so much.
Yes, well, we'd love to have you on.
It's incredible
because Predator, the first one, we basically couldn't get everyone on that wanted to be. Predator 2, we're like, you want to be on? And they're like, eh.
I'll talk about Predator 2 for hours.
Yeah, Paxton, of course, has been fully sort of kind of getting integrated with the team, still being himself.
They just investigated the crime scene.
Yeah, the second one, not El Scorpio. And then Gonzo Minute, we're doing Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas for our first year. And if you're not familiar, we watch 1 minute of the film at a time, most famously done by Star Wars Minute, but we're in the same sort of family.
We're like in the last 2/3 of it.
Yeah, we've got a third of this go, which if you're familiar with Fear and Loathing, it gets very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So like we've kind of hit the high water mark because it's in the film, and watch it roll down from here. So it's gotten very uncomfortable. It's another one where people are like, oh, I want to be the guest on the part where they're doing drugs and having a good time, not the part where it's like they're assaulting a waitress. So
there are no more good times.
So those are the ones we're doing. But yeah, Gonzo Minute and then Predator Minute. We have a good time, and that's really cool. You can find us, anywhere you find a podcast. Josh, that's cool. Pro Football Focus is used a lot by Defector.com, so they're amazing.
You guys might have to start giving your predictions, sharing them with each other.
So that's our stuff. And A-aron is our resident tech guy. So he was the expert in all the things today. I just wanted to hang out. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Right on.
Paul, Jason, Gil, if any of you got something you want to plug.
I'm a working stiff. I got nothing.
Okay, but still, always enjoy having you on because it's a party. Jace, you had some fun observations there. That was neat.
Thanks.
You're always posting on Twitter.
I am very much,
or X, whatever the hell.
Wait,
I refuse to call it that.
Jace, are you 5 hours ahead? I hope not.
Yeah, I'm in the UK. Yeah.
So I heard the accent, but I was like, no way, it's 3 a.m. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it's nearly 4. Yeah.
Oh,
sorry, mate.
Well, so then we really good timing. We will.
Cheers.
Thank you all. Really a delight. Glad everyone got their moment in the sun. Got to plug the shows and talk about what this means. The show is not rusted yet. It's still kicking.
Well, you told me about this podcast, so you know me. I went, I bought.
I can't believe you did
Galactica that and I bought Galactica 82, even though I know it's not going to be as enjoyable.
No,
they boxed it with the original, so it's not like you paid extra for it.
It has flying motorbikes. I mean,
what I found out, I bought the movie.
Anna Van Dyke.
I bought the pilot movie, and then I bought the season 1 series.
Yeah, they got you.
Yeah.
No. They just re-released the movie on 4K.
This is true.
Remaster of that.
Yep.
Because it's on my shelf. Sorry, cinephile. My bad.
I was doing this with some of the different comic books too, where I was like, I got them on my computer, but I fucking hate the resolution, so I'll just I'll just buy it. Just nothing better than flipping.
They'll just keep re-releasing them because all that has happened before will happen again. So
right.
Suckers born every minute.
It's a good capper for this show.
Yes. We were pawns. We were sheep. We were silence. Alrighty. Don't do any deadly maneuvers. Stay out of space. And
Grab, you got to bring in the cat.
Don't go to Caprica. Peace and love, everybody.
Yep. See you later.
Take care.
Always a delight. I'll keep you updated.
Thanks,
Go say we all.
So say we all.
So
end we all.
baby.
Say we all.
Follow us on the web on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The podcast is available on Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Apple, and anywhere else podcasts are available. Feel free to review our show and leave comments on any of those sites. Thanks a million for listening.
It's a jacked up